You wake up as a pterodactyl wingspan of a seagull, body weight lighter than a can of soda, brain the size of a walnut, maybe smaller. You are at best a medium-sized snack with wings, and before you get any ideas about being a dinosaur, you're not. You're a pterosaur. A different branch of the family tree entirely, one that split off long before anything we'd recognize as a classic dinosaur showed up. If a real dinosaur looked at you back in the late Jurassic, it wouldn't see family. It would see a weird, flying cousin twice removed. Related, technically. Not invited to dinner. You don't remember being born because you weren't, not exactly. You hatched out of a soft, leathery egg, buried somewhere warm. Sand, maybe rotting plant matter. Something that keeps you insulated without anyone having to sit on you for weeks. And here's the part that should concern you. Scientists believe your mother was already gone by the time you cracked the shell. No warm nest waiting, no feeding schedule, no one hanging around to see if you made it through your first hour, let alone your first year. So what do you do with that information? You fly. Immediately. Fossil evidence from juveniles your exact age suggests you could take to the air almost as soon as you were dry. No practice flights, no wobbly first attempts off a low branch while a parent watches nervously from a safe distance. You hatch. The sky is already open for business, and business is life-threatening from minute one. Here's the problem. You are bite-sized. Genuinely, technically bite-sized for nearly everything sharing your lagoon. Early crocodile relatives patrol the shallows, unbothered, ancient, patient. Small theropods work the shoreline, testing the mudflats for anything careless enough to land there. You are not the top of any food chain. You are, at absolute best, somewhere in the uncomfortable middle, and on your first day alive, you're closer to the bottom of it than the middle. Welcome to the world. Try not to die today. Statistically, you probably will. Eventually. Just hopefully not today. Your home is a lagoon system in what will, tens of millions of years from now, become southern Germany, although obviously nobody is calling it that yet, and you couldn't care less either way. It's warm, shallow, dotted with small islands, fringed with patches of ancient coral. From above, it looks almost peaceful. It is not peaceful. Parts of it are dead calm, low oxygen water. The kind of environment that occasionally just kills things quietly, efficiently, without any drama at all. And then, almost as an afterthought, buries them in fine limestone mud that happens to preserve them in incredible, almost unfair detail. Keep that fact in your back pocket. It's going to matter a lot more later than it does right now. A normal day for you looks something like this. Skim low over the water, hunting. Dodge anything bigger that's also hunting, because you are very much not the only predator working this stretch of coastline. Retreat to one of the small islands to rest once your wings start to tire, which happens faster than you'd probably like, because flight is expensive. It burns an enormous amount of energy for an animal your size, relative to almost anything that stays grounded. So most of your existence is essentially a running math problem. Calories in, calories burned, repeat, forever, with no weekends off. Here's your one genuine biological advantage in all of this. Your bones are hollow, air-filled, like a bird's, centuries before anything resembling an actual bird shows up to steal the concept for itself. You are flying around on a skeleton built essentially out of drinking straws, light enough to get you airborne on demand, but obviously not exactly built to absorb a hard landing. File that away too. It's relevant later. And here's a question worth sitting with for a second. Why do we, this many millions of years later, know this much detail about your skeleton? Your wing shape, even occasionally, what was still sitting in your stomach when you died? Because of that lagoon. The exact one that keeps almost killing you on a semi-regular basis. It also happens to be one of the single best fossil preservation environments this planet will ever produce. You are, without having the faintest idea, living your entire short life inside a museum exhibit that hasn't been built yet and won't be for a very long time. Now, your one real flex, the thing that actually makes you, your head has a crest, a small bony base, topped with a larger extension of soft tissue that fossil study suggests was probably brightly colored, maybe even flushed with different tones depending on your mood or your age. And here's the twist that might disappoint you a little. It's not a weapon. It's not for headbutting rivals mid-air or intimidating anything that might want to eat you. Functionally, it does almost nothing for your survival. It exists for exactly one purpose: to get you noticed by the opposite sex. Think about what that actually means for your day-to-day life. Your entire dating profile is bolted permanently to your skull. There's no editing it later, no flattering angle you can turn to hide a bad year. Everyone within 100 meters can see, instantly, exactly how mature, how fit, how generally eligible you are, whether you're in the mood to advertise that information or not. Bigger crest, brighter color, more attention from anyone flying past who's currently in the market. It's a billboard you never agreed to rent, running 24 hours a day, whether you like it or not. So that's the superpower. Not raw speed, not strength. A head-mounted personal ad you can never quite turn off. Eating, meanwhile, is its own constant gamble. Your diet leans heavily on small fish and invertebrates, probably supplemented with insects whenever the opportunity presents itself. Because you are not in a position to be picky. And pickiness is a luxury reserved for animals higher up the food chain than you. Your teeth are small, numerous, and widely spaced. Built more for opportunistic snapping than for anything resembling precision spearfishing. You're not elegant about hunting. You're efficient about it, which, when your life expectancy is what it is, matters considerably more than style. Here's how it usually plays out in practice. You come in low and fast over the lagoon surface, snatching prey without ever fully landing, wings working the entire time, because actually touching down on open water is a far bigger problem than it sounds like from a distance. One miscalculation, a bad approach angle, a sudden gust at exactly the wrong second, and you faceplant into water you cannot easily take back off from. Waterlogged wings, on a body this light and this dependent on flight, is close to a death sentence in real time. So every single meal you catch comes bundled with a small but very real chance that it also turns out to be your last one. And you're not even hunting alone out there. Other pterosaurs share this exact airspace with you, species like Rhamphorhynchus, working the same fish, patrolling the same stretch of lagoon, competing directly with you for a buffet that isn't infinite. Below you, always, are the ground-level threats, small to mid-sized theropods and early crocodilians, patrolling the shallows, watching the same water you're skimming, waiting for exactly the kind of mistake you're trying not to make. Here's your near-death moment, and it's worth noting it's not dramatic at all. It's quiet, and it's fast. You make a low pass over open water, laser-focused on a fish just beneath the surface. You don't see what's coming from below until it's already far too late for it to matter one way or the other. The same lagoon that feeds you every single day is also, every single day, quietly trying to end you. It has no particular preference about which outcome it delivers. It just keeps offering both, indifferently, on a loop. Remember that snack with wings line from the very beginning? This is exactly what it was warning you about. Eventually, assuming you survive long enough, which is genuinely not guaranteed, you'll try to reproduce. And courtship, as far as researchers can piece together from the fossil record, likely centers right back on that crest of yours. Size and color signaling maturity, general fitness, reproductive competence to any potential mate flying past and taking notes. It's a slow, entirely visual negotiation conducted across open air, where the pitch, roughly translated, is something like, "Look at this thing on my head. It means I'm doing fine. If it works, you lay eggs." And then, and this is the brutal part, that's essentially it. There's no confirmed parental care once the eggs are in the ground. You don't raise them. You may never even see them hatch, let alone take their first flight. They enter the world exactly the way you did. Alone, unsupervised, flying almost immediately, with the odds stacked hard against them from minute one, same as you. Most of them won't make it to adulthood. That's not pessimism talking, that's simply population math for an animal sitting at your rung of the food chain. You might become a parent and never meet a single one of your own offspring as anything other than an egg you happened to lay one afternoon. There's no scene where you watch them grow up. There's no scene at all, really. Just a beginning, identical to your own, playing out somewhere out of sight. And now, here's the fact that should genuinely change how you think about everything you've just been through, that lagoon. The stagnant, low oxygen, deceptively calm one that's been quietly threatening to kill you this entire video. That exact same feature is the reason you'll ever matter to anyone at all, tens of millions of years from now. The mud at the bottom is so fine, so starved of oxygen, that when something dies and sinks into it, decomposition barely has time to start before it gets sealed away and preserved. Wing membranes, skin, crest tissue, occasionally, in the right specimen, exactly what was sitting in the stomach at the moment of death. So the very thing making your daily life dangerous, this quiet, unassuming lagoon, is the same thing that will eventually make your species one of the best documented flying animals in the entire history of the planet. Millions of years from now, people will know astonishing amounts of detail about how you looked, how you flew, even sometimes what your last meal was. And it's all because the place that kept trying to kill you turned out to be extraordinarily, almost unfairly good at its job afterward too. You didn't ask for that trade. Nobody consulted you. Which brings us to how it actually ends for you. And it's not going to be dramatic. There's no final epic battle, no last stand against some towering predator while music swells behind you. Realistically, you get eaten, or you drown after a bad dive catches you at the wrong angle at the wrong speed. Or, if you're still a juvenile, you simply get outcompeted for food long before any of this ever gets the chance to matter. Pterosaur mortality, as best researchers can tell from the fossil record, leans heavily toward dying young and dying often, though exact lifespan figures for your specific genus aren't especially well pinned down. So take any precise number here with a healthy grain of salt. Whatever it ends up being, it's quick, it's undramatic, and it's probably an entirely ordinary day. You get a bad landing, or a hungry neighbor who was faster than you expected, or you sink slowly into mud that is, again, extremely good at what it does. There's no tragic swell of music, there's just a stop, and then, much later, a very good fossil. And here's the upside, such as it is, congratulations! You just became one of the best documented animals in the entire history of paleontology. Shame you had to die in a swamp to earn it. You woke up a snack with wings. You die a fossil with a fan club. If you think you'd last longer than a Jurassic pterosaur, subscribe. The bar is genuinely low, I promise.